So, self-love shows social justice. Yes, sir. Like, share, subscribe.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
In entering upon this course of instruction, each of you should, so far as possible, lay aside for the time being all previous theories and beliefs. By so doing, you will be saved the trouble of trying
All the way through the show.
to put, quote, new wine into old wineskins, end quote. Luke chapter 5, verse 37. If there's anything as we proceed which you don't understand or agree with, just let it lie passively in your mind until you have enjoyed the entire show. For many statements that would at first arouse antagonism and discussion will be cleared and easily accepted a little farther on. After the show is over, if you wish to return to your old beliefs and ways of living, you are at perfect liberty to do so. But for the time being, be willing to become as a little child. For said the Master in spiritual things, quote, except ye become as little children, ye shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven, end quote. Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. If at times there seems to be repetition, please remember, the self-love show is a lesson, not a lecture.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the ones, but let's not be selfish, and because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change.
24 years ago today, iconic rapper Tupac Shakur was shot here in Las Vegas.
The rapper was shot inside of a BMW while stopped at a red light on Koval and Flamingo. We all know the story. He then died 6 days later. The shooting happened after a Mike Tyson fight against Bruce Sheldon at MGM Grand. And then there was a brawl inside of the lobby right after that fight. Tupac was in the car with Marion Suge Knight, who was grazed by a bullet. No one has ever been arrested for Tupac's murder.
Brother,
I'm wiping it though. I'm gonna wipe it. I'm gonna wipe it. I'm gonna say, hey.
Tori's oldest brother. Between us, Tori made me at Beta, and so he just wanted to say a few words before we let you go here.
Okay. Yeah,
Brother Thomas, thank you so much for gracing us with your appearance, man. Grateful. You expanded our nation beyond belief. It's just a wonderful thing. And we would like to present you with the Self-Love Show first annual Ernest Lee Thomas Achievement Award.
Oh man,
It's apropos that you are the first recipient.
And Noop, we call it the Raj.
We're gonna call it the Raj.
Oh, I love it. Oh man.
Yeah, so we have it on order. So it's gonna come here. We're gonna show it to the show, and then myself or Tasia deliver it to you or ship it to you from there.
Thank you, brother.
And even in this instance, if I could be of service to a 9-year-old girl or a 19-year-old woman or girl who wants to be a woman, is to really is to really remember that self-love is the best way that you can receive love from anybody else, because it's coming from you. A lot of times we forget that. We like look externally for this love. We look externally for this feeling of validation and adoration and approval, and it has to come from within.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Yes, indeedy. Yeah, buddy, we in the building. The silver backs are black. We got a great show lined up for you tonight with Chicago's very own Maze, Chi-Town. Cue the music. Yes, sir. Self-love. Vision. Where them Chi-Town heads at? I'm just a kid from Chicago. Yes, sir. I'm just a kid from Chicago. Let's get it in. Welcome to Chi-Town's very own The Self-Love Show, where we got two mottos. Motto number one is on earth as it is in heaven. Big ups to the ancestors. Special all praise to my mama Sky, my beloved. Motto number two, as above, so below. Right now we can be found Malcolm exclusively right here on the YouTube channel. This ain't that network. And as we say in this acronym age, TATN. Yes, sir. This is one of the co-hosts, 9 Mills, also known as Self-Love, or one of the selves, I should say. What down, Chi-Town? What down? Repeat after he. I am greater than my excuse. I am greater than my excuse. I am greater than my excuse. Today is Hump Day. It's my Friday. That's we live Wednesday, August 10th, 2022, approximately 8:03 p.m. in the Windy City. As always, we always acknowledge that you cats can be any place in this magnanimous universe. And thankfully, we all Scooter chose to be here together. Big up Scooter. Here together. What down, brother Wordsmith? What you manifesting today, sir?
Love, man. You know me. I'm manifesting love. What you manifesting?
Ditto, good brother. Pure, magnificent. magnanimous, unadulterated. Some say harsh, many say tough, but I guarantee you, it's love just the same.
No doubt.
Yes, sir. What's been going on in your neck of the shot since the last Self-Love show?
Lil Saint came into town yesterday.
Big ups to the Lil Saint.
Corey was here. Ran into Jay Jacobs yesterday. Wow, with him.
Wait, he was up in Mobile, bro?
Yes, he good. He said he said getting all the way back.
All right, I know that brother took some slugs, man. He was he sat with us on our first show, right?
Yeah, he said he hit him 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, he was telling me, bro. I had to send him the link. Big ups to Jay Jacobs. So he back out there, working with the kids and working to stop the violence.
He is.
That's love. I had told him when I talked to him, like, man, maybe it's time for you to lead it easy. He's like, what I'm gonna do? Where I'm gonna go?
Right.
Chi-Town kids. Anything else jump off, bro?
Nah, everything else has been pretty in rotation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So let me give a quick rundown for anyone who doesn't know what to expect here tonight. We got the Self-Love Show, quote of the day. Then, of course, we have our platform, our foundation. It's a short, less than 1 minute video. That's what we stand upon. It's the More Growth and Development platform. Then, of course, we run a short video that Self-Love and I unpack, entitled Tattoo Tyranny. And the chat, Self-Love and myself, we all vote if what we witnessed was tyranny or not tyranny. Be honest. Be honest with yourself out there. Be honest with 12. Be honest with the politicians. Be honest. Then, of course, we have our new segment that we've been rolling in. That's called What If They Were Pink? And then, of course, our weekly dome teaser. That's a riddle. We encourage everyone out in the chat to type in the solution. We will reveal the key at the end of tonight's show. And then we get to our topic, fellow UIUC alum, social justice warrior. We're going to sit down here with Maze Jackson. Always been an extremely outspoken individual, and backs it up with some science, knowledge, understanding. And then we go from there. After we wrap up our sit down with Maze, we have next week's sneak peek. Tell you what we got in store for you on the Self-Love Show next week. And then, of course, we wrap it up with my personal favorite part of the whole shebang. And that's where this brother to my right, Brother Wordsmith, summarizes everything off the rip, straight off the top of the dome, and a wonderful, magnificent, dare I say, piece of prose, world class. So, genius. But first, you got any announcements, good brother?
Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, share far and wide.
Ditto to that. What I had on the announcement side is simply what he said, subscribe. We're on a journey, and as we hit certain plateaus, that we've earmarked, there's action that's going to be taking place. So we need about 79 more subscribers, and you guys get to see myself and my lovely better half jump from a moving, flying airplane, and we have agreed to use a parachute. So that's the plan. Anybody out there in the chat, if you're in this arena, if you got any questions, put them in the chat. Keep them respectful. If they're not respectful, as always,
Trolls get hoes around here.
Trolls get hoes. Those questions will be ignored And if they're responded to, you can and will and may get your feelings hurt. Just depends on you. But this is designed to be an interactive chat, so feel free to chime in. And enough of my yapping. I'm going to turn it over to Brother Wordsmith so he can handle his business.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's no us without y'all. We greatly appreciate you. And as always, we have a very important video, as Nine mentioned, the More Growth and Development platform, which we're building the Self-Love Nation off of. But before that, we have the Self-Love Show quote of the day. Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute. Once again, give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute. That's Psalms 82:3. And Silverback More Growth and Development platform. Number 1, repair our nation via reparations. We demand our silver back. Number 2, to connect our breadwinners with our activists. And 3, show an accurate depiction of African American Chi-Town. 4, to shine a light on positive influence. 5, heal our community one person at a time. 6, to provide an unfiltered platform for our influencers. 7, recycle the black dollar. 8, to provide mentors for the mentorless. 9, to close the gap between us and our pink kinsmen.
Yes, sir. We're closing the gap. Get that gap closed. Most we can take. Yes, sir. Number 10, Brother Wordsmith.
Number 10 is protect our women and children by any and all means necessary.
Man, stand up or shut up and stand down. So I concur. If we're not doing that, what are we doing and what are we doing it for?
Facts.
Man, so last week we did CERN. We unpacked CERN. What say ye, self-love?
Whoo-wee. Whole lot of information for the Self-Love Nation. Y'all need to get into it. Check it out. Go back and check it out.
Yeah, we covered the scientific overlay view, overplay view in the first half of the show, and then the second half of the show we did the underlay, such as any quote unquote conspiracy theories, and just what Spirit may have been telling us and the people. So educate yourself on that. Do check out last week's show.
Absolutely.
Facts. All right, so bro, let's push on, man. You guys make sure you like, share, subscribe, post it on your Twitter feed, post it on Facebook, what have you. This is bread for the people. But yeah, bro, did you see 12 Heroes, bro?
12 Heroes.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure I didn't. Not
So
staying plugged for the most part out there.
Big ups to Inside Edition, Fair Use. Our production staff's got it queued up, I believe.
What's your name and your badge number?
That's it. Oh, my bad. Big ups to Big Nick, South Florida. Big Nick, South Florida. He sat on the show.
First Amendment, you ever heard of it?
From the beginning of the American policing system, there has always been a group of people that has hated them. Now, this hate is strictly from an adversarial relationship, good versus evil. Law enforcement was in the way of these people being criminals. So there was a natural hate relationship there. But there's a much different group of people, a much larger group of people that hate the police. And it has nothing to do with the police preventing these people from being ruthless criminals. No, 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 it has nothing to do with the police preventing these people from causing harm to others. The police did this to themselves.
Right. Where are you going so fast?
I'm just going right here to my house.
You got your license on you?
I have my.
Okay. So you're not supposed to be even driving with all these people, right? Okay. So why are you driving like that?
Hey, we're secure.
Stop out.
No, can you
stop out? You're under arrest. Get out of the car.
15 seconds.
Oh, get out. Get out. Get out.
Record!
Hey, get in the car. Get in the car.
Navarre, record this! Navarre, record this!
Keep your hands up.
Are you kidding me? Under 30 seconds, you pull your gun. Are you kidding me?
Record what? You resisting arrest, dumbass? Record what? You resisting arrest, dumbass? Anyone else want to be stupid?
You can't even arrest me.
You're under arrest. How about that?
I'm not enough for y'all to arrest me.
Yeah,
Can
you
you
are.
record this, sir, please? Can one of y'all record this at the store? I'm only 17 years old. Can one of y'all record this, please? Thank you. They just dragged me on my car. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate, and they got a gun. These people in the car are kids. They 14 years old and 15 years old, and he got a gun.
Then when you get out of the car, when I tell you. No, I can't.
You put your gun down, he has a gun to these kids. He has a gun to these kids, y'all. I'm 14 years old. He has a gun.
Okay, well, it's your friend's fault. Thank care.
Okay. I'm 14 years old. He has a gun.
Okay, well, it's your friend's fault. Thank care.
Okay.
I'm 14 years old. He has a gun. Okay, well, it's your friend's fault. Thank care.
Okay. I'm sorry, though.
It's not your fault. You guys straight?
Yes.
Okay. So, just so we're clear, when the police ask you to get out of the car, you're probably smarter than that. You get out. Anything on you guys are in the car?
No.
Okay. Whose car is this?
I don't even.
Whose car?
So hard.
Her mama car? Where do you guys live?
I live right there.
Okay.
Yes, and this my cousin.
Okay. All right. Whose purse is that?
I don't even know.
Is that her purse?
Yeah. I can't breathe. I'm safe.
All right. Just relax. Close the door, bro. Anything in this car we need to know about?
Nope. I don't even know. I can't breathe.
Anything in here?
No, that's my clothes.
Just clothes? I'm just going to sit on top of the car.
All right.
I can't even breathe.
We're secure. All right.
Don't cry, man.
You're good. Just step out. Hey.
Stop crying.
You're good. Hey. You're good. You're good.
Nene,
Get out.
stop crying. I can get up.
Yeah, get out, bro.
Why are you crying, bro?
Because I can't breathe.
Nene, be quiet.
Stop. Relax. You're okay. Relax. You're okay. You're okay. You're fine. All right. Jesus Christ.
All right, production. I've seen about enough of that. So they pulled her over. She was a permitted driver. She wasn't driving with a licensed driver. 17, the young lady was. She was riding with a 13 and I think 14-year-old family. Less than 1 minute, these guys decided to snatch her out of the car, manhandle my little sister out of wanton arrogance, and then go live and arm the stick, aim it at 2 children.
Yeah, that's
and then, geez, they're crying. Geez.
It's your friend's fault. That was completely illegal. All that stuff they did right there. Should be a lawsuit up behind that.
Thank goodness no one was physically harmed.
Yeah, because those children will never be the same.
Yeah, the psychological.
That was his whole point.
Correct. It's conditioning. It's programming. And did you see the young man, the future warrior? Why you crying? Stop. Don't do that around these people. And that's just because he hasn't been schooled right, in my opinion, as to handle those situations. She doesn't have to talk to the police. He could have explained, you don't just snatch a door open and start snatching people out of cars. I don't think that's in their training.
That's part of the legal part I was talking about. He didn't say anything. Step out of the car is, not saying you're arrested or anything, what for or anything. Just step out of the car is not a lawful command.
Yeah, I feel like he's a creep. And did you see how he was trying to bait her into incriminating herself and all of that? You're not supposed to be doing this and that.
Yeah.
And they lived a block and a half away from where they were.
Wow, was it that? I didn't even think it was that far, because she was like, I live right there. He was like, he lived right there or whatever. But, block and a half, yeah, it's still right there.
Right. She pulled over. She didn't drive home, which I would have done. Had my parents involved. Probably snuck the car or something. Yeah. But, all right, we'll keep this brief because we have a guest tonight.
Well, we already know it's
tyranny.
Tyranny all the way, all day, every day.
That's tyranny. And if you guys think we're wrong out there, feel free to put a thumbs up if you think that that's what your taxpayer dollars are going to, and if you think that was handled correctly.
And if you agree with us, put a F12 in the comments.
Yeah, F12. It's a function. It's a function key.
Yeah. Yep. Put F12.
Yeah, because I searching the car, all types of stuff is, I feel like, in my opinion, he saw 3 black individuals. He profiled them and wanted to jack them up and see if they had warrants. He had no idea how old they were, but once he did, he was still, can we say pig on YouTube?
Yes. Oink, oink.
We can say pig?
Yes. There are all kinds of pigs. People eat pork all the time. So you can say pigs. It's a word.
Big ups to your everyday pork eaters out there. Big ups, big ups, big ups.
No ups.
Everybody.
It's a choice. Everybody do what they do for themselves. But
yeah, we all come out of it. Let the first one amongst us who hasn't eaten pork cast the first pork chop. You know what I mean? I guess we all evolve or elevate at our own speed. So, all right, but we agree that what we just witnessed was tyrannical. Big ups to Big Nick, South Florida. I suggest you guys subscribe to his channel. Also, for our guest tonight, we pinned his link at the top of the channel for the Maze Jackson show. I've been immersing myself into that material. Very, very entertaining. Edutaining, I should say. Very edutaining.
Facts.
All right, so we'll push on, and you guys like, share, subscribe. Let's get them in the building. Like, share, subscribe. Post it to your Facebook, wherever you got them at. So now we're going to move into our news segment before we kick off the show. This one is What If They Were Black? Now, this one is Inside Edition, I believe. Big ups.
Hi, guys. This teacher seemed to have it all. Respected by her peers, beloved by students.
Welcome to week 2 of our online learning.
But now, Marka Bodine has just pleaded guilty to sexually abusing a 13-year-old student. The 32-year-old teacher preyed on the student for 3 years, sending him explicit photos, videos, and texts. Cops say she and the boy even had sex in her classroom and her car. Now there's controversy over what some see as an incredibly light sentence. Prosecutors asked for a prison term of as much as 40 years, but on sentencing day this week, all the teacher got was 60 days.
It's really upsetting.
Jennifer Kratky's daughter was in Bodine's social studies class at the Tomball Intermediate School outside Houston.
To find out that she was only given 60 days, it's unbelievable. And I think our community deserves answers for why that sentence was decided.
Bodine's victim and his mother were said to be very upset with the outcome. 2 questions are being raised. Did Bodine get so little time because she is attractive and because she's a woman?
Do you think she was given such a light sentence because she is a woman?
I really have no idea.
Bodine is divorced. She recently gave birth to a baby whose father is described as her new boyfriend.
All right, bye, guys.
Wow.
All righty. So this segment of, we've had a couple segments where we could also say, what if they were a male? But we're going to stick to it. Are you satisfied with the sentencing there? You're a parent,
60 days?
Yeah.
That's asinine. That's asinine. And I can't. All right. If she was black,
right,
the book would have been thrown at her.
We'll start there. Yeah. And then based upon she's black, she was pursuing the child since they were like 11.
Yeah. It's how you get 60 days for that?
Because she's too pretty. They'll eat her alive in jail. That's the whole feeling of the jury and the court system.
No, that's some crap because she ate him alive. He was 10, 11, and 12. I mean, 11, 12, and 13.
Well, she was pursuing him since then, and then finally, I guess
consummated it. Sending pornography to a minor.
Yeah.
How is this not pedophilia? I'm not understanding how that can go out of the.
Well, pedophilia is
13-year-old.
It's at a certain age. I don't know, but it's definitely statutory rape. I think pedophilia is like 6 years old or younger or something.
I gotta look into that.
Yeah. But still, she's a teacher. She's in charge. That's 60 days, and she'll probably be out in 40.
She probably served some of it already when they arrested her.
Well, let's turn this around. What if she was a white male?
Might not even ever heard about it.
I think she'd have got time if he was a male. That was a male teacher, and slept with a 13-year-old student. I think he would have gotten time, and I think we'd have heard about it.
Okay. A lot of them get swept right up under the rug.
Yeah, but it's a dynamic that can't be denied. It's like when it happens to a boy, it's like everybody gives it a high five, and they don't really feel like there was any crime there. But when it happens to a girl and she shows up to court tearing, then the book, rightfully so, is typically thrown at men in a similar situation.
Yeah, when the victim comes forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a daughter at 13 and a male at 13, I shudder to say, my response would have been different.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My daughter had her first day of high school today.
Yeah.
She's 14. And it would not go well for her.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I might have high-fived my 13-year-old boy.
TATN.
Yeah, show me the pictures, son. You know what I mean? Get those posted
No.
on the internet.
I'd still go hard at her too, cause no.
All right, we got Omni Overseer, big ups, and yo, he put 2 pigs in the chat, and he said F12.
Yeah, no doubt.
All
T8.
right.
Oh, I'm watching that over there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then so, let's see what we got here. All right. I think it's time for the dome teaser.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go. 2 mothers and 2 daughters go to dinner, and everyone ate 1 portion each. A total of 3 portions are eaten. How is that possible? Once again, 2 mothers and 2 daughters go to dinner. Self Love's got a thumbs up. I think he knows the answer. He's typing it in our private chat here. If you guys know it, type it in the chat. We'll see how smart you are. 2 mothers and 2 daughters go to dinner, and everyone ate 1 portion each. A total of 3 portions are eaten. How could this be possible? All right, let's see what Self Love typed here, and our guest is waiting in the cream room. He hasn't typed anything. He's just put up a thumbs up.
I took a little bit to write.
Let's see here. All right, it looks right from what I remember. Self Love does it again. All right, so enough of the appetizers, bro.
Let's quench the self-love nation's thirst.
Facts. Let's get them in right after this promo video. Big ups to our production staff. Big ups. Hey, man, stay on mute. Keep your cam off, bro, until we're going to introduce you. All right. So, Self Love's been working hard on his end, running around the great city of Chicago, booking cats. So, we're working to reel them in, going after some legends and things of that nature.
Every story that I've ever seen is of a 14 or 15-year-old black kid as a carjacker. And so, shame on me.
Tomorrow I'll be working the phones to see if we can close this out.
Talking about them, they're going to take his 40 card. See, they put that in there. Right. And you know what else they put in there? Shot spotter. Shot spotter saved the day. See, this is why I'm going to stop messing with y'all. Oh, I forgot to show y'all the picture. Ruthie, there you go. He don't even look remorseful. Like, again, and this is me. If I knew, so whose deck is Inglewood? And whoever's deck is Inglewood in the county, somebody needs to find out what his plan was.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be some great discussion and well-needed discussion right here on the Self Love Show. Yeah,
Can
buddy.
I tell y'all, I had a bigger bond than this when I was in Champaign. Mine was 500,000, and I ain't had, man, please. Are y'all crazy? Are y'all kidding me? He is, okay, he's not out yet. But all the coverage we saw in Highland Park, you and Reese ain't even know. It's okay. Well, I'm not even tripping on you, Reese. I'm just saying. Like, do we have a black alert system?
Let's say so.
I said facts. That's just complete agreement.
Yeah.
What's going on? This is Cotton. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Because subscribing makes you feel good.
Do you still have them?
I got mine.
I got mines in. All right, production, you can kill that. So coming to the building, proudly, we announce our guest tonight. This is a urban pioneer, marketing pioneer, community engagement, WVON host for multiple years, close to 9. WVON 95.5. I think I'm getting this right. I seem to remember WVON AM.
Yep.
Political strategist. We talk much politics here on the show, so this will be fun. He's currently executive director of the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus Foundation. We're going to unpack that. He also worked as a political editor for the Chicago Defender. You remember the video game Defender Self-Love? I'm going to start a black version called the Chicago Defender. Yeah?
Yeah.
And WIIFTB, what's in it? We'll let him break down the acronym later in the show. WIIFTB Media and The Maze Jackson Show. Also, a fellow UIUC, that's the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, alum. And I can go on and on and on with more accolades. But let's get this brother, Maze Jackson, in the building. Self-love, I took care of it. You just handle your business.
My brother. Welcome to the Self-Love Show. And thank you so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Know you're going to expand the conversation for the Self-Love Nation.
Well, let me say I am honored to be here. Let me tell you, first of all, I gotta go backwards. So, for us to be here today, it's just and I got a bunch to say. So let me start it. First of all, if you know me, I hate house music, right? Like I hate house music. And I feel like I look at both of y'all and y'all make me think back to U of I, because we were there during the switch, right? During the time when we went from kind of house to hip hop, and I feel like our growth in hip hop was stunted because of Chicago's love of hip hop music. But as you was doing the intro, I found myself tapping my feet under the tape. So I'm gonna say that first of all. So that's one thing. Secondly, obviously, our history at the University of Illinois, being in different fraternities and coming up as young people, I think this is like the ultimate sign of growth and what we need in our community to really start to bring us back together. Man, I think about the state of Chicago right now, and we're stagnant. We've been stuck since Harold Washington on beefs that were 30, 40 years old.
That's Harold Washington. That's Harold Washington.
You got it. Now, I'm from Bolingbrook, so that's probably at that point they're going to put it on me. But I think of this conversation, and Tori, when you stepped to me about doing the show, first of all, I was honored that you would even consider me for your show to be on it. And then after watching it and seeing what you all have put together and catching a couple episodes, I'm really impressed with what you're doing. And so I'm honored for the opportunity to be and to share your platform. And I think it's much more of this that needs to happen. And I also want to commend you all for doing it across the country and maximizing the use of technology to be able to make that happen, and just to see the two of y'all together still after all these years, because I feel like I feel like we kind of, all of us fit in our fraternities in a way. Like it was the guys that was part of the fraternities, but then had a whole nother world that existed outside of that. And so I'm just honored to be here. Glad to be here tonight, and love the opportunity to share with your audience and to partake in the conversation. I do got to tell you, I do a show at, I leave out of the house every morning at 4 a.m. So I'm not going to be able to stay till 10:30. I can do till 10. I just don't think I could do till 10:30 because I got to wrap up some stuff.
That's fine.
Trying to get out of town. But man,
respect. Respect. I'm up at 4 a.m. myself, but I'm on the left coast, so it's a little earlier here. But yeah, I want to thank you for doing this, Maze. You kind of hit the yard like me and Tori did, and just the yard being the U of I, and if you go back to that era and ask anyone from that era, who's Maze, who's Tori, who's Mills, they're gonna remember us, and whether good, bad, or indifferent. They're gonna remember us, and I always respected that about you. How you hit the yard and you stood on your own. So, but let me just kind of give you a quick overview of what the show is about, kind of what we're driving at, bro, and just so you can kind of know what we're doing here tonight. So, our goal is to provide unfiltered content, from the Black One, Descendants of Slavery, for the Black One, B1. Also, we want to be heard by our progeny, kids, our kids, generations down the road. Our history tends to distort and blur what was really going on during specific time periods. This is your opportunity to kind of break it down in your words, what you saw, in your lifetime, so that when we're, with the ancestors, somebody, 200 years from now will be like, man, this stuff is still going on. You know what I mean? And then and then to promote our endeavors. This isn't a debate format. Self-Love and I, we used to, go to barbershops and get into political conversations, and nothing ever seemed to get resolved because, we don't debate in the right format. It just becomes an argument. It becomes a fight. So, feel free to express yourself, we're not going to give pushback, because this is your story. And, if you could imagine your kids could be listening to it. So that's how we get down. Now, I'm going to be plugging the Maze Jackson show throughout the show in WIIFTB Media. But what other ways is it just subscribing to your YouTube channel, or any other ways they can get in contact with you?
So you can get me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We broadcast on all of those networks, and then those are archived on each one of their pages. Additionally, we broadcast every morning on 1570 AM, which is WBGX, is a Big Gospel Express, and we are essentially their morning show. You can also follow me on Facebook, on Facebook, or through Twitter, or I am most responsive really through Facebook. Twitter moves a little bit too fast, and it's a little too angry for me at times.
Yeah.
But definitely then subscribe to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, I'll tell you, I used to be pretty heavily focused on Facebook. My audience has shifted to YouTube, and so I expect to see me more on this platform and starting to use more tools. But those are the most essential ways to get a hold of me.
Sweet. Appreciate that clarification. And his YouTube link to his channel is pinned in the chat. So all y'all got to do is click on that and then, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can check in. Yeah, I've been checking out. You had our brother on there. We'll get into it. Reynard. And I watched that whole show. Reynard Hall. Yeah, I watched that whole show. But we'll get more into that. Now, just so you know how it's formatted, the first section we like to kind of breeze through it. It's your early life background, and then we go through our foundation. We're going to ask you certain things about the moral growth and development. You know, we're solutions based, so we won't just be talking about problems. We're looking for what you might do, what things you have in mind, you know, to heal our community. And then we take a quick break, and then after the break, we're going to jump on the social justice topics. All right, so let me just go ahead and jump off with the early life questions, and then we'll go from there. So you mentioned you're from Bolingbrook. Can you describe what it was like being raised there during your early childhood? It's kind of a two-part question, and if you remember any anecdotes coming from your elders who may be ancestors now, and how they may have been interacting with the young boys and young girls in our community that you could share with us.
So let me go back. I got to start by saying, just so I can make sure that I keep my Chicago credibility intact. I was born in Chicago at Woodlawn Hospital. I lived at 514 East 62nd Street, went to A.O. Sexton and then St. Anselm's until the third grade, where we moved to Bolingbrook, Illinois, which is about 30 miles southwest of Chicago. Let me say that growing up there, I went through grammar school, middle school, and then graduated from Bolingbrook High School in 1989. I'll be honest with you, tremendous. While I had the relationships with my parents and my direct family, when we moved to Bolingbrook, my interaction with Black, I don't want to mischaracterize it, but I would say that I was very early identified when I went to Bolingbrook and put into a separate group. And most of my mentorship beyond my family really came from our involvement in very ultra right-wing white churches who their leadership identified me, as well as in school, as someone that they should invest time, energy, and effort in. And so a lot of my foundational beyond, and I got to give credit to my mom. She had 14 brothers and sisters. They're from Marion, Indiana. They instilled a work ethic and a sense of history. So I would say that I never was disconnected, but I would say that for the formative years of my life, most of my interaction was with white elders who had identified or tried to connect with me. When I got older,
I mean, fair enough. Go ahead. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No. So I would say that beyond my mom and dad, and then my immediate family, and I think in the space of my immediate family, it was always be the best, right? Don't you look at those white people in the eyes, and you go in the room, and regardless if you're the only one in the room, nobody wants to hear about any of your issues. You just got to compete. Don't cry, just get in there. And so I think it eventually put me in a place. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about these notifications. I don't know how to turn them off. I apologize. I don't know how to work this, but whoever is texting me, I'm gonna try and ask them to stop. So anyway, I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
It's all good.
But I would say the biggest thing that I would think when you talk about what the people around me, my parents, we were sort of like pioneers, because we were some of the very first few families who moved to Bolingbrook and stuck. So it was kind of like a transient place for Black families until about my, I would say, 5th or 6th grade year. And that's when things kind of changed. But I would say that the biggest thing that I could think of going back from my elders was really don't punk out, but really don't you're no less than any of these people, and they're gonna say everything, and you gotta endure and you gotta push through it regardless.
Right. Don't be doing none of that shucking and jiving.
Right. Yeah. Don't embarrass in front of them white people too. So it wouldn't be shucking and jiving. And I would say that I don't think that there was shucking because I grew. So let me say this: coming from 62nd and Rhodes, I really didn't know what shucking and jiving was, if that makes sense. Like you come in kind of when you get there, you the guy from the city until again it comes in waves. So then it's the new next guys that's from the city. And then so you just kind of go through that space. But shucking and jiving, no. But I do think over time, like when you get separated, there becomes the opportunity for us to be misinterpreted. So imagine being the only Black kid in your class, and when everybody else is mixing classes together, so you go together and you start to interact. We stayed in this group, right? And so if we stayed in this group, then when I hit the playground and all the new kids came from the city and y'all was all mixing up, and you the Black dude that's in the class with all the white people, and y'all don't never be at nothing that we be at. And then you hit the playground, the white kids go that way, the Black kids looking like, nigga, you've been with them all day, right? We don't know you. So if you learn to navigate the space. And so when you talk about the no shucking and jiving, I think you put up, as you're trying to navigate that space, you're a kid, you try to figure out wherever you can find a place to fit in, because nobody wants to sit by themselves at the lunchroom table, right? So you find that group that you fit with.
All right, well said. What were interactions with 12 or the police like, let's say in Bolingbrook, like were you experiencing, well, what were the interactions like, if you had any with the police?
So most of my interactions with the police were from an observant standpoint, and I noticed how they treated, I feel like when I first got there, the police we were all like a community. And as we started to bring in, as more Black people started to move in, it became truly like a police force. Just for perspective, if you know Drew Peterson, he was a cop for us when I was in high school.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so he would, like, what you know of him now, imagine tuning that up, right? Like, imagine what it took for him to get to who the practice was.
Right.
I will tell you that I can distinctly remember in Bolingbrook, there was a lot of interracial dating and stuff. And I can distinctly remember the police in Romeoville coming into the gym and getting a friend that I went to grammar school with, taking him out of, like, literally arresting him in school, taking him to a cornfield and beating his ass for dating his daughter. So you did whatever you could really to avoid the police. And then there were like the places that they knew, like I had some friends that are like some of my closest friends to this day, who the police just always were at their house, because it was the kid's house, but it was the Black kid's house. So the police were always there. For me, I wasn't really able to be outside as much. So besides a basketball game or at McDonald's, and I was on my way to the crib because my parents were pretty strict. So it was like, I really didn't get to go out. But when I went out, my parents would be like, you can't be outside. They would never let me go far because of their fear of some of the interactions with the police. And then I think getting older, real quick, when you start driving, I learned deep driving while Black very quickly in Bolingbrook, just with the speed limits and being pulled over so many times and just being like, damn, come on, man. Anyway, and watching the white kids with the cars speeding around, burning tires, and we scared and we getting jammed up. So yeah, you knew you were different back then.
Did your homeboy break up with the daughter after the beating in the South Farms?
I think he got her pregnant afterwards.
Well, I've been saying that's what white supremacy fears the most. You know, that's our weapon that they fear the most, and you know, we just got to let it go. You know what I mean? And eradicate them.
Dr. Chris Wilson, baby.
Eradicate. I got the book right here. Eradicate them from the planet.
Was you there when she was on campus?
I was.
Yeah.
I would tell you that you threw me off, but U of I is where I came into full kind of knowledge of self. Like, all of that stuff that was being displayed was also at the same time, it was trying to really find my place in Blackness. And I would tell you that, and I think even if you look at this, right, with this, if you look at that era of people who went to the University of Illinois, that there was a group of freedom fighters that were at the University of Illinois that still are active in the liberation of our people. And that University of Illinois, I would tell you, equipped us for the world much better, not much better than HBCU, but I think we had to steel ourselves for what was going on, and we were having those fights at an early age, whether it was shutting down cams, whether it was when we saw Rodney King, and I mean, there was so many actions, and you think about the knowledge, like you think about the people from the If Not Nows to the Nias to the time, there was a time when like the whole campus, all the Black people was like, all right, we gonna send a representative, but everybody is gonna be part of the council or whatever. I can't remember what we called it. The alphas gave up their house, and regardless of who had beef or whatever, we was all like in a unison. And I think I came into my knowledge of self at the University of Illinois.
Got you. All right. So you were in Bolingbrook, so
Go Raiders.
Well, which is probably Bowling Black now, but can you speak on churches? I know you indicated, you're on a gospel station, but I just want to speak on, churches and their historical relationship with our community, how it was then, per se, or maybe even in your grandmother's generation versus the way churches are perceived and how they're interacting with the community today.
Okay, so a couple things. I am a preacher's kid. So I grew up, my father was a pastor of initially a predominantly white church. And we have Baptist and AME background. I think I have a unique perspective as it relates to religion. I think looking back, I'm often torn. Go back to U of I, why didn't he pork, right? I'm torn when it comes to religion because of the role that we know that it has played, the church, and the role that is played in both our enslavement and our liberation. In the same book that they used to enslave our grandparents is the same book that some of our grandparents clung to hope for that got us to where we are. The church has always was a place of gathering for Black folks, a place where we could share and build, but it also was a place, similarly, where the white man could interject or take away our fight through the tools of the book. And I would tell you that is the same conundrum that we find ourselves in right now with the church, combined with now a lack of spiritual or so I feel like with church, and I'm gonna intersperse church, religion, and Christianity right now, but you can move them around. Black people will not be liberated until we have a spiritual awakening in my mind, from what I believe. I believe that we have a spiritual connection with God that we have allowed to be severed or have allowed to be. There's something between us and God right now, our creator.
It's been diluted, so to speak.
Yes. And then now we are now taking on the traits and the customs of our oppressors that is even further blocking us. We are now in the church. So I grew up with the thought process that the church, that you were in the pursuit as you are trying to build a relationship with the creator, right? And the pastor, the leader, is because he has the responsibility of trying to keep us, he is in pursuit of perfection or a closeness level to the creator. That no longer is an issue. Right now, it's like you do what you feel like. Man, my pastor can drink, he can smoke, he can be just
drink
like
and smoke
me.
in the pulpit.
Right.
In front of a congregation of thousands.
And be naked.
Right.
And
kissing a man.
And so in that space, I don't know if the church is fulfilling its right space. Like in Chicago, it's even crazier because it's so political. The churches are chasing politics, not God. And so what you wind up seeing is the people that are supposed to be, the preachers are like literally the Pharisees now, right? They are more political than they are spiritual. And so as our community continues to slide off the rails and our youth continue to be disconnected, the pastor was someone who I looked up. He may not have been perfect, but at least he appeared and at least he was in the pursuit of. Now everything is okay. And so when you ask me about the church, and I talk on the show, I call them nigger preachers. We've got to get back to a level. Our churches have to be a trusted, safe space for our people, and it has to be part of the solution. We have allowed the world to dilute the church, and then after it dilutes the church, then our church is no longer involved in the saving of souls. They trying to be the next community development corporation so that the pastor can build his second generation can build a multi-million-dollar palace and be rich forever, right? And it's just. So I feel like there's been a historical connection that's been both good and bad, and right now it's expanding in the worst space.
That was well said, and I'm a preacher's grandson, so I know what you're talking about. I spent a lot of time in church and in the good book.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, and I think what you're getting at too is the foundation. A fear of man, a fear of God, and our youth don't even have that to deal with. I had a certain fear of going to hell, to a good age where, I'm not going to shoot this guy in the face at 12 years old. I'm going to hell. So the OG is like, shoot him in the face. And I'm like, nah, you shoot him in the face because I'm not going to hell. So, and that's missing. And then to your another point you made, my late mom, very spiritual woman, rest her soul. Towards the end of her life, she told me one time, she's like, we went and visited a church. I won't mention the name. major church in L.A., and she said that the churches have sold our people out, and our heart was so broken, bro. You know, you were talking about that. It's almost like the oppressor is funding us, is driving our messaging, you know, and it's diluting the entire experience.
The church, I mean, I went to church 6 days a week, right? So I'm gonna tell you, I probably had the reverse reaction, which was I'm going 0 days as an adult. But as I have gotten older, I have sought back that spiritual connection. Now I've learned a lot since thinking that, you know, I was gonna burn in hell and there was a man with a red tail that was gonna be down ready to stab me. But I'm gonna tell you what you're talking about. But what you're talking about to me was Mills was healthy to keep me somewhere in a space of good, right, and wrong. Like, correct. I can honestly tell you that I don't know that everyone knows the difference between right and wrong right now. Correct. And it plagues us. And the dude that is the preacher that is Bishop Pimp, that has a baseball hat that says I'm a bishop and a ponytail and gold chains and right. Yeah. And you know, I had a pastor say, we don't drive Cadillacs no more, we drive exotics. And I'm like, exactly my point. And if that is materialism, and it's almost like everything that I learned growing up is almost like, it's like, is that in the Bible? Because if it is, I'm gonna do the opposite of it, because they're not gonna read it no way. And I obviously I'm trying to figure out all of the nuances with which version of the Bible and all that. And that stuff, I'm gonna be honest with you. I stopped eating. Well, that's not really the main reason I stopped eating pork. But one of the main reasons I stopped eating pork was because I was in pursuit of a religion and I didn't want to be a Christian because I felt that it was part of the oppression, right? But then as I decided that so you know, the thing to do, the first thing you do is say, I'm gonna become a Muslim, right? And you know, and then when you really, then you be like, no, I'm not gonna be a Nation of Islam, I'm gonna be an Orthodox Muslim, and I'm gonna stop eating pork, and I'm gonna right, as you go down that path. But what I recognized even there was, in my pursuit of trying to find a spiritual relationship, because I know it has to exist, I found that it was not a religion that catered to me as a Black man. It made me take on another person's culture in the fact of running away from, for instance, the Christianity component because of its role in slavery. And so here I come jump into this thing where, and then I look around and I'm like, hold on, y'all still. So I think, and for many of us who desire a spiritual relationship, it's where do you go, right? Like, where do you learn? Like, you know, like I got people now that say Ifa and all type of stuff, right? And I'm like, man, that was all growing up. I was taught that was the devil, right? And so how do you overcome those things that you learned as a child to try and figure out where do you get your spirituality from? And I feel like it is a damn shame that in my pursuit of spirituality here, I feel like I have all this to be able to give as part of my service to my people, and am not exactly sure how to make the final missing link, because where do I go to do that? Who do I trust with it?
Man, I know one thing we could do is come together on other things besides religion and bridge the gaps between them. If we could put religion aside and work together, it could bridge that gap and put it all together. That's what just Spirit told me. That's all.
Well, real quick, Maze, to your point about pork, I used to ask my grandfather that, you know, if y'all, I say if y'all can eat pork and serve pork for the church dinners, I can smoke reefer. What do you mean? I mean, it's all in Leviticus. So honestly, Christians should not be eating pork. It's just something that they choose not to enforce. So in the Old Testament, which is basically the Torah, the Hebrew scripture, so-called the Jewish or even the black Israelites don't eat pork. Right. Hebrews don't eat pork. So because it's in the scripture. But that's something that the same preachers you're talking about, including my grandfather and everybody, just tended to ignore. Another point I wanted to make, not the last time, but I went to a church, Sweet Holy Spirit, and I have homosexual friends. I hate to sound racist. All my friends are black. I have, homosexual family members, right? And the church is called Sweet Holy Spirit. There's a red flag because I'm like, what's sweet about the Holy Spirit? I mean, it just felt like an entendre, felt like a metaphor, Their colors are like a pastel purple. That's fine. And I get in there, and it was at least, I don't want to be hyperbolic, at least 70% homosexual men, like in the deacons. Hey, brother, where you. And it was always come as you are, right? And I remember asking my wife, she kept going, she'd be in the choir and all that. And I just went that one time. I remember asking my wife, I said, well, if it's come as you are, can I come here with my hat ace deuce, cocked to the left or to the right? Can I come here with a blunt and a pistol on the side? I mean, to your point about a safe space, right? And I'm not, Lord forgive me, I'm not judging. I'm just saying if we're, if the book is not pretend, because I'm not perfect, I got stuff I do, but if you're going to say come as you are and everybody can come as they are, then let me come as I am. If I wanted to show up in some drawers, should that be cool? Do you know what I'm saying? Should that not be a problem?
Man.
So let me touch on that though, because I actually maybe not as extreme as draws, right?
I hope not.
Right, me too. But I would tell you, we've had this conversation on the station. We also even had a church show called Church Chicago. We discussed this, and now it is somewhat acceptable to come to Church High. It is in that come as you are vein. Now,
you mean not just high, but smelling like reefer, and the saints are smelling it?
Yes.
Oh, smoking in the parking lot as you're pulling up?
Yes. I promise you, if I had the time, I would pull the show, because we talk about, should there be a section where people who have smoked sit in the church so that you don't smell? And I am here to tell you that as long as you tithing, fam, well, you make the collection. And
it's all good, man.
In some churches. And
Snoop Dogg in the pulpit. It's all good.
It's like they, Christians had ignored the Old Testament.
So, but that's what they would.
They just ignore it. They just act like,
though,
well,
it went
Christ came, said, "Don't defile you. What you put in your mouth, or is what comes out your mouth." And they come with the. I mean, that's quotes. That's quote.
But they will tell you that they are New Testament, right?
Right.
So remember, there's a transition, and you go from an eye for an eye to love thy neighbor, and the Bible then switches its mode, which is kind of, remember, essentially when Jesus came, that begins the New Testament if you believe Christianity. So at that point, the old law goes away, because your Savior, the Messiah that they have been looking for.
Okay, well then stop talking about Genesis then. You understand what I'm saying? Right? Stop it. Stop talking about that.
What church do you talk to now? That you really
can't have it both ways. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Throw it all out there. That's good.
I mean, the New Testament is mainly written by a person that hunted down and killed Christians. Paul,
So he
and
found
he
Jesus.
was Saul, and then then he's written almost all of the New Testament. Like, okay, there the four stories. He didn't write those or whatever, but
Oh, the
there's a
four
whole
gospels.
lot of gospels. Pardon me.
All right, well, all right, well, we're gonna get into the chat real quick, Self, and then Self Love's got some questions for you. Big ups to my new Omni overseer. He solved the today's brain teaser. The solution was grandmother, daughter, and granddaughter, and I think that's what Self Love had. And then We the Brutes said, no, it doesn't, Maze. Only the law of animal sacrifice was done away with.
Oh, okay, go ahead. We the Bruce. That's the morning show. Represent. What's up?
All right, and so Self Love, it's on you, and then we'll wrap up this section and push forward.
No doubt. Brother, whom do you credit for teaching you how to move safely and effectively growing up?
My mother and my father. I think that both of them poured into me in different ways. My mother was fearless. She was the person who said, if we got to get somewhere, we'll take the bus, the L, the train, but we'll get it. I think
Facts.
my old man taught me that a man only has one way in this world. A woman can do it two ways. She can make a name for herself, or she can live off of her husband's name. But if you are to be a real man, then you have to make a way for you and your family. I think as I got older, there were different people that helped me navigate through space. I would tell you, and one last, I would say, as far as helping me also growing up, I gotta credit a teacher, Mrs. Higginbotham in 5th grade, who was my challenge teacher.
Did she have a big booty? My apologies.
No,
Name
she
like
didn't
that?
have any.
Oh.
She didn't have any. She was white.
But my
but
bad. I digress.
No bad. But Miss Higginbotham, she reinstilled that I was equivalent and in some cases smarter than the smartest people. And she was like, she reinforced what my parents said, don't back down, because oftentimes I would find myself in situations where I would be the only Black person in the space. And so those would be the three in the early phases. I think throughout my life, though, then as I have gotten involved in business, hip hop, politics, all of that, there have been various people that have helped me navigate those spaces as well. But those three were the big.
That's the Trinity: mom, dad, and then you had a mentor. I had a teacher that did that for me when I was at Ray School. They had me in so it was 6 levels at Ray. I always tested high. And they had me in the 3rd highest classes all the time, or the 4th highest classes. And I was testing well, bro, like Iowa test. And I had one teacher to pull me to the side. And she walked me to the office. And I was in all the number 1 classes from then. And I held my own. But she gave me a similar speech to Miss Higginbotham. And those are angels. And it's up to us to remember that, take that time out. A little moment that might have taken her an hour was life-changing for me. So, and we can do that too. It's on you, Self Love.
Yeah, bro, that was a great, recall. And that, like you said, the Trinity, excellent. What advice do you have for young Black children as it pertains to survival, the struggle, and success?
Wow. So it seems simple. The first thing I would pray, and I hope that we as adults can get our children away out of survival mode. But to survive, I think you've got to equip them with love, education. What advice would I give to a young person to survive? I would tell them, find things that you love, do the best that you can. There is no substitute for hard work. I would also tell them to learn as much as they can. And learning is not, you can't always pay for what you can learn. One of the challenges that we have, because we're always in survival mode, is we don't really have a chance to take in the world around us. And so what I would also encourage young people to do to survive is to see, to get out of their comfort zone. Man, and I gotta tell you, I would tell them to put down the phone. I would tell them to put down the phone and look up and look around. Because I just feel like there's so much that our young people are missing. Our phones give them an opportunity, they give them an opportunity to see and connect, but it also desocializes them. And then I would also tell them to find good examples of role models. Look at somebody that you want to be, and look at what are the things that you have to do to be like them. Don't think about just today, think about the future, which is a lot of times hard for young people because of the sense of immediacy. And then when you got all this social media and Instagram and everybody is a superstar, I would also tell them that there is no such thing as an overnight success, right? You're not supposed to, the reality is you're not supposed to be a millionaire at 19. So take your time, save a life.
Man, well said. And
Very well said.
Yeah, your progeny's gonna hear that. So that was dope. That was very dope. All right, so that completes. We're sitting here with Maze Jackson, and I tagged his YouTube link for the Maze Jackson show. Great show. Big ups to Ruthie as well. You guys are like y'all are like Pippen and Jordan out there. You know what I'm saying?
That Ruthie boy, it is, you know, Ruthie is a blessing to have. She is, it's to have the millennial opinion. Now I'm gonna tell you, bro, it wears me out though some mornings. It's tough because we grew up so differently. We have such different views of the world. Let me say this. If I could tell them one thing, until we get our reparations, recognize the world don't feel like they owe you shit. Right. And if you can get away from the fact that you think the world is supposed to do you right, I think we could get a lot further. But I think I am grateful for the millennial perspective, and Ruthie helps me understand the things that I gotta pour into my young people to help them understand, because white supremacy ain't going nowhere. As a matter of fact, it's ratcheting up. So we gotta teach them how to survive. But let me say shout out to Ruthie and Reese.
Big ups to Reese too. We call it pink supremacy or white inferiority. But it's nothing supreme about that.
Pink supremacy. I'm gonna be rocking that. So you better trademark that, because I'm gonna be rocking that on that will be added to the morning show, the lexicon.
Well, it's just a handshake, you know what I'm saying? Hey, that song you started your show off with, I don't know, it's what's in it for the black folks, bro. It's a hip hop song, the artist from Chicago. You got to send me the link. That's super dope.
Have you heard his reparation song? Have you heard Terrorism? The boy is cold. Like, I'm gonna tell you, you know how
his name?
Like, his name is Ness, Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, Ness. His
name is Ness. I will give you, man, bro. The boy is wicked, and it is the type of music that we need to start, like, because he got the flow, the young people will listen to it. I just feel like, man, we need this music that's playing is death music right now. And we gotta get it. People try to say music don't affect you, fam. I'm gonna tell you, every time I got into something, I had a soundtrack playing in my head. And I think, and even to this day, right? When When I'm shopping, when I'm kicking it, there's probably some Jay-Z song that is rolling through my visionary in the place. And I'm 51 years old. And if it still affects me,
right,
then I know what it's got to be doing to you.
And you're not sipping lean potentially, and you're not popping all types of pills and having this run through your head. You're not having slept in weeks. But you mentioned reparations twice. So we're going to jump into our foundational questions. And the first question in our foundation is, what's your take on reparations? Big ups to Ruthie.
Give me my damn check.
Cut the crap, cut the check.
That's our motto. Yeah. Cut the crap, cut the check.
As my man Ness says, cut the check. Let me say this. I have evolved on this issue just because I believe that it could never happen. After watching what they were able to do with COVID, as I watch what they do in Ukraine, as I think about how many times they have spent the reparations, if they could have given Black people, all of us, $500,000 to $1 million each, and free education. I think reparations should be a package, but it should include monetary reparations. The victims of the Holocaust got checks until the day that they died from Germany. And I would just say that our plight
in the United States.
Right.
The slave owners got checks.
Got reparations. Right. Reparations, they got repaired for the loss of their property. This country was built on and became a superpower on the basis of free labor. Now, that stated, I do not see anyone. Let me back up. I do not see reparations coming from Democrats. I see, honestly, if we were able to get reparations, it would probably come from Republicans so that they could say, shut the fuck up, but also to stick it in the eye of Democrats. And I think that by hook or by crook, get us our checks, and we should be about that. And I think we should hold any Black national elected official to that standard. If they do not support the monetary reparations for Black people, the descendants of slaves in America, then we should not be supporting them.
I don't care what color they are.
Yeah, we ask all officials if you.
Yeah, you could be from Mars, and if I ask reparations, and they say what you said, they go on the list, and this is who Black people should be voting for. All that other stuff is minutia. You see, he said 500,000 to $1 million. I said I would ask for the $1 million, and I'll settle for 500,000. In fact, cut me my check now. You don't have to figure out how to give everybody else their money. You know what I'm saying? And I'll speak on your behalf. You know what I mean? Give me mine. And it would be healing. It would show the world something as well. And not only that, it would be a bigger stimulus than those COVID checks. It'll be a bigger stimulus to our economy than, and this is how you sell it to pink people. It'll be a bigger stimulus than those clunkers. People always say, well, Black people just waste the money. Many will. Yeah. Many will just waste the money, but it's their money. They can wipe their butt with it for all I care. All right. But, bro, what strategy would you employ to motivate the descendants of slavery, but the Black so-called upper middle class, people that you and I know and associate with? What do you have in mind? What types of things do you have in mind to motivate those of us to support our community activists and our charitable organizations more fruitfully? And I'm not just aiming at Jay-Z and Oprah, because we got a way of doing that. Well, Michael Jackson should write the whole check, but all of us, with certain means who've come out of abject poverty in a lot of ways. And then now we're there. And I understand you're trying to build generational wealth so that you can buy your family's freedom. But what kind of strategy would you use from your wisdom if you were talking to a group of them to motivate them to if they're not going to be boots on the ground to cut checks, and I'll leave my run-on question, because many of us, as you said earlier, we follow the white man's program. We're going to donate to these big white charities, and we're going to invest all our money in these big white companies. These white companies don't do anything for our communities. They invest less than 1% of that 401k money in our communities. Those big charities, they sell it to us as it's a tax break, and so we just give that money. So what would be your strategy to get more of us with the means involved in breaking bread?
So that's an interesting question, and I face it regularly because I don't know how much you experience this, but as a conscious Black man in the conscious community, they often have negative opinions of college. So let me back up. There's a division, and so in the activists and in the conscious community, not the scholar component of it, but the, how would I say, the
grassroots
boots on the ground, and oftentimes the dominant force in that group is the ex-offender community. There is a negative perception towards
facts,
college educated, then it more intensifies with Black Greek letter organization members.
Fraternities and Masons, and
Yep. So let's start there. So it's tough for me to cut a check to a person who just motherfucked me, if that makes sense. If they like, y'all ain't blah, blah, blah. So we got this circle going on, with us not recognizing that everybody is cousins. And it's funny because in some places, when you talk about going to college, in some of our communities, that means going to jail, right? And then in some of our communities, when you say go to college, it literally means go to college. And it shows the dichotomy of the extremes that exist in our community. And a lot of times, those of us that have escaped or have made it to tier 2, get so caught up in trying to climb the corporate ladder, there is no real benefit to, perceived benefit to donating, because you don't, to a Black organization, because you don't really get any credit back. The white people could care less about your neighborhood little thing. And so when you're at work and you want to talk about your charitable contributions, do you get to say, well, don't you want to say, I gave the big shoulders, as compared to saying, well, I gave to kids on the block because Diane Latiker provides hot lunches to over 200 kids every day after school. And I think there is a lack of perceived value in the middle class Black area. And then there is the look of, I think some of our more educated people have taken on the mantra of them niggas over there, and they don't necessarily see that as a continuation of them and being connected to those organizations that are most impactful. Almost in some cases makes people feel like they're going backwards. So if you're not the Urban League, then I can't invite my boss to the gala, right? If I'm not the NAACP, I can't get the corporate check. And so essentially, and you give to the people that you know, right? So the big check is never gonna go from AT&T to Kids on the Block, because Kids on the Block doesn't have those long-standing relationships that then can take the heat off of you. I really, honestly, man, I just feel like there has to start being more connections, and we've got to start seeing their plight as our plight. And I feel like we have literally, I love the Chris Rock, there's Black people and there's niggas, but I think we've taken it to the extreme in some cases.
I think that's
and
the problem.
Now it has become ingrained Like, it was hilarious when it happened, when he did it. But I do believe that there are people that have taken that to heart, that believe that our people don't want better, that they don't deserve better, that they're in the state that they are, or they forget where they come from, or just don't want to go back because they don't want their kids to, like, I'm a victim of this a little bit. I didn't have a bad upbringing, but there's certain things I don't want my kids to have to do that I did, right? So if I live in Bolingbrook, what's the odds of me if I can go be in some club and we're gonna have tea and cheese, and when am I gonna go back to O Block? Who am I gonna invite over to O Block to come do some work? Really? And I just think that we've got to really stop being scared of each other too, because that's the other part.
Facts.
I do think that there is a fear of our own community in our own community. And so the best way to overcome that fear is avoid it.
Yeah,
How do we solve it though? Because I did feel like I think there has to be more concentrated efforts. Like, you know how you got 100 black men, but it's 100 black men way up here?
Right.
It's got to be 150 black men. And it's got to be 150 black men that come from all, and this is not a diss to 100 black men. It is, we've got to have more organizations that focus on inclusion instead of exclusion.
Absolutely.
Just listening to you, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that years ago, we have to stop being afraid of one another. I'm a proponent. So just listening to you kind of reinforce some of the thoughts I had. So the goal is, to better yourself, by getting that formal education so that you can earn more money. And so on this thought experiment, just imagine if everyone who did get those corporate jobs did move back to the community. I don't think we would have the schism that we're having right now, because there would be more of us amongst the grassroots, living amongst the grassroots. You grew up there, everybody knows you. Yes, things can happen, right? To your point about, you don't want children in that situation, as well, pretty much what they say. What I tend to say is, well, it would still be a different situation, because instead of paying $1 million, or I haven't been in LA too long, but instead of paying $500,000, for a house in the suburbs, you might be able to get that same house, for 150 stacks, put another 100 into it in the community. You might have bars on it. And then you got some freed up cash to maybe send your child to the Catholic school or private school. But you're still in the community. Your children won't be on the bus because you can pay for them Ubers or drive them. What I'm saying is, one solution would be to educate the grassroots that, hey, we're from here, we just live somewhere else. Another would be scholarship programs, right? Yes, you go off to these, whether it's HBCU or, white universities. But in order to not have to pay this loan, you have to live within a black community for 10 years, and then we'll forgive this loan for your education. Because what's happening is our successful people, and the ones, like you said, that knowledge we acquired dealing with those people on the yard, that knowledge doesn't get, even the Nation of Islam can't do it, because a lot of them haven't had that training, so to speak. So that knowledge is never being used in our community. So then we live outside of our community. Our property taxes is going there. Everything is going there. And those people who stayed in the community, who weren't into books like that, they don't know us anymore. and they only go by what's being programmed to them, as opposed to, no, that's Maze Jackson right there. You know, you can tell me what you want, but he's been here, boots on the ground, the whole time. You know, and I think before desegregation, our communities were like that, and they were better because we didn't have the choice to go live amongst other people, right? And say it's a better situation. We didn't have a choice. We had to make the best. So we might have had Pill Hill within the black community, you know. And I know it's
athletes,
maybe naive of me,
the actors,
but that everybody, everybody,
the highest of
the business people, the engineers, the architects, yeah.
So I would say, and I can't speak for LA, but in Chicago, we still remain the most segregated city, one of the most segregated cities in the country. And
absolutely,
a recent Tribune study showed that Black people, regardless of income, in Chicago, live within a half-mile radius of each other. So we haven't necessarily always left the community, because even when you make money in the Black community in Chicago, you still find yourself relegated. I'll throw back to the George Wilborn story. George Wilborn wanted to buy a house in Bridgeport. It was a $2 million house. He was like, "I buy it cash." They was like, "No, you can't buy this house here." So I think we live still in our neighborhoods. We just go in the house and close the door. And then we don't talk to the person on the two sides, and we don't know each other, and we zip in. And so you grow up next door to somebody, and because the people who moved in on the block, their kids came, they was the Section 8 people that came on the block, and they kids, we don't have. So to me, what needs to happen in that space, now that we're talking about it, is there needs to be a welcoming committee, right? Because there needs to be a neighborhood welcoming committee that when a moving truck moves into the house, into the neighborhood, there is a group on the block that says, "Hey, family, regardless of whether you got baby's kids, whether you moving in with a Porsche or whatever, look, these are the rules.
These are the rules and regulations.
Yes,
we appreciate you.
Sounds
Here's
Silverdale.
Here's the apple pie. Here is the phone tree. Here is when something happens.
Sweet potato pie.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you need help, call this number.
Call this number. But we also know that this is what we've all agreed to in this area. So if that's not what you're used to, let us know. We have resources. Your kids, we don't sit. If our rules on our block is we don't sit on the porch, but we make the park safe so all the kids can go there and play. That is it, right? Yeah. I think that there has to become. We have to be reintroduced to each other, bro. I am telling you, when all the people on the block know each other, right? Then that's when when everybody say the grass got to stay cut, right? You and the one person,
like Silverdale.
One person on the block that and they may not know, right? And I think that we have to give our people some grace and mercy in the standpoint, because what we do, like the college, well, when we come, we cut our people off because we have now learned better, and in some cases they necessarily haven't. We don't. If you have never been taught, and a lot of us are one generation away, right? So we don't want to be seen as them, but instead of being seen as them, we have to say, "Okay, fam, I got to give my people some grace and mercy. Look, we cut our grass these days. They come and cuss you out. We have interpersonal development, relationship skills problems sometimes. So you're gonna keep to working to trying to figure out a way. But we have to have rapport with our people. And I think that's kind of how it works. And I think when somebody crazy move on the block, Mark Harris has a movie. I can't think of it, but I can't think of the name of it, but I'm gonna get it to you because it was a story just like we're talking about. A hood family, or who they deemed a hood family, moved on the block, right? So he's got a movie about this, and it turns out that the family was a good family. They just came from a different place, and everybody, all the people in the block, just went in the house and talked about him, and nobody ever said, "Hey, fam, cut grass day is this day. The garbage gets picked up on this day." And so we look at our people as the enemy instead of looking at them and saying, "Hey,
That's
fam,
my brother. That's my sister.
let me help you." If you a lot of times they might not have a lawnmower. Here go my lawnmower. Well, nowadays don't nobody got a lawnmower. They got guys that pull up. I won't go there. But anyway, but I do think it's we have become anti-black to each other, right? Like that
Fact.
Chris Rock thing is a real, it's pervasive. Like people put you in a category. If you catch me on a Saturday, right, and I'm at Home Depot and I ain't got together, you probably making a, oh damn. Here you go. Now, that's not to say we shouldn't be vigilant.
I'm telling you, I laughed at the joke, but I wanted to slap him too. I was
glad Will Smith smacked that smile off his face. I never liked that segment. He did it. I never found it funny. I knew how dangerous it was for our community, and I felt like that he was just saying things that white people wanted to say. You know, not saying there wasn't any truth in that segment that he did. Yeah. I just didn't see any growth and development that could have come of that. He was basically making fun of our people.
Yes.
You know.
So I can say that, so I can look back and say hindsight is 2020. I laughed at it. I'm gonna tell you I used it. I think I applied it. There are those moments when you be like, damn. Like you catch yourself.
No. And don't misunderstand me. Yes, I agree with that. I always felt like there's some things to be said amongst us, like the N-word itself. And then there's other things you go out in front of the whole world and don't say and do. I hate to sound like Bill Cosby because we know what he's been through. You know what I mean? But let me, Devin Gordine said, "What's good, bro? IIFTB1, BP1." And he said, "Rising tides lifts all boats. Let the black tide lift our boats." That's from Devin.
Shout out to my VP. To the president of Black People First, Devin Gordine. What you doing, man? Don't you ain't DJ supposed to be going to college today, man? Drop the boy off to college. Let the boy. We got us some more house, man. And you out here on the YouTube. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for the support too.
What's up, Keegan?
All right, well let's push past that. I thought you covered that well. What should Black people do? Foundational Black Americans do to eliminate, outside of pushing for reparations? Let's assume reparations would never happen. But what should we be doing right now to help shorten this financial gap between us and our pink or white counterparts in this country? What should our focus be?
Business, for-profit business. I hate to say, I know that it is a negative thing now in this world to talk about capital, but the fact of the matter is we generate a tremendous amount of money as consumers, but we do not make that money work for us. I think we have to focus on building sustainable businesses in our community that can create wealth and jobs. There will be no Calvary. As much as I want reparations, white folks have proven time and time again that they are going to do whatever they can to stop or block that. That stated, every time I talk to somebody Black and they tell me they want to start a business, they tell me they want to start a nonprofit business. Well, and I think we have learned how to deal with money in such a poor manner that it keeps us consistently behind. There can be people think of the Ford Foundation, but there can be no Ford Foundation without the Ford Motor Company to fund it. And so I think we've got to re-examine our relationship with money, with business, and be focused on it. I think that I myself have overemphasized politics because wealth is legislated. But oftentimes what has happened is our wealth is legislated through nonprofits and through social services, while white wealth is legislated through banking, finance, and capital growth. Ours are generally built on depreciating assets. So if you look at Black millionaires and Black business people, predominantly they make their wealth from government contracts, whether social service or through government relations. Whenever the economy contracts or the government has issues or it changes, then our wealth is relying upon that. Now, when I talk about wealth, I'm not talking about becoming multimillionaires. I'm talking about the money that allows us to be able to put food on the table, that allows men to be men and not have to beg or grovel. We don't even sell the fish. We don't fry chicken anymore. We don't fry fish anymore in our own communities. We have given up every business and outsourced it. And we have to start focusing on reclaiming the businesses that were in our communities that we rely on every day. If you think about the Arab corner store, right, that is the grocery store. But imagine that in the hands
That's
of
Arab for context. Arab. Go ahead, bro.
Well, I got a bunch of letters during the last campaign cycle about my word choice. And they used it negatively against my wife in the campaign. So I just don't want to bring any negative reproach.
No. Do you, bro? Do you?
But I do. I think if you think about how much money leaves our community from just the gas stations and corner stores, right? That is enough to build the fast. Do you know the largest growing Arab population in the country is in Chicago?
Yeah.
And you know why? And it is the wealthiest and it is the most sustainable. You know why? Because
liquor
they
stores.
have us. Not just liquor store. No, they own every market, everything that we consume. J&J Fish is not owned by Black people. Harold's is barely holding on, right? Every pair of gym shoes, every pair of clothes, if it ain't Foot Locker, is coming from that community. They are now moving in on the Asians for the hair, right? If you think about it, they hyper customize their businesses to our needs. If I need drugs, because we're in a pharmacy desert, guess where I go to get me some aspirin? The gas station.
Man, they got white t-shirts, they got everything.
You can get dressed at the gas station. And guess what? Every one of those things every bit of that leaves our neighborhood and goes somewhere else. Yeah. And so if you ask me, what do Black people need to do? We got to be focused on reclaiming the business and putting an economic base. We have no infrastructure. Right now, we are in the midst of a civil war that has been undeclared. We are living in an undeclared civil war. If someone decides that they are going to turn off the lights, the spigots, the grocery stores are empty, man, it's crazy. I got a grocery store that's towards Western. You go in there and they got empty shelves. If I go to the one that's on Halsted in the West Loop, it's full to the rim.
Yeah.
What if you that's a 12 block difference. But if you can't go them 12 blocks, what's your reality? And so how do we sustain ourselves? When we had the uprisings, they just said, when they raided the stores, when they tore up the stores, nobody had a place to be. Fellas, give me one hot second, because I gotta put a plug in real quick. I'm sorry. If that's okay.
That's all good.
All right.
Yeah, and to
the
his
institutions, we got to have all our own institutions. That's what has to happen. We have to, for every phase of what is established, we have to in turn have that, Silverdale, without talking.
Yeah, exactly. And to his point, when pink people, ask me the question, they'll always ask me, well, what can I do? What can we do? And so it's to your point, bro. What my answer has been, because I went to Nas. Nas has a restaurant in L.A. It's an all-white community. Different types of restaurants. Good area, And my wife and I sat down. One of the Noops was out here, Money B and his wife. And we were like the only black table, maybe one other black table. No. Sorry. It was all black people in there. And there was only one table with white people. And I said to myself, they just won't spend money with us. We think, well, if we build it in our communities, they're afraid and they won't show up. They just, if I start a business in any other community, bro, whether it's our, black and brown, whether it's, I'm just telling you, they won't shop with us. But we openly go shop with whoever's got the best price, whoever, whenever, for whatever reason. And we tend to say it's out of convenience,
If we
and then
shop
another
with
thing,
ourselves, oh my God.
right. And then to another thing, to your point, and then I'll end my soliloquy here. So I tell white people, judging off of that, I say, well, I'm sure you have investments. Why don't you invest in a black man or a black business that's in a community? Well, what do you mean? We invest to make money. But part of investments is tax breaks, right? And I always say, you won't lose your shirt. But what if you just started investing some of your extra money in black businesses, start a business, create a job for people? That's all I'm saying. Partner up with a black person. That's how you can help so that we can be self-sustaining and self-sufficient. And then they go red and go quiet.
Well, so that's the thing, because they really don't want the answer to the question. Or
Right.
they don't. Or they want you to tell them, they want you to revalidate them, right?
Mhm.
They don't really want a solution. They
No.
don't really want to face that. And so I think, like, when somebody asks me, what can I do? We'll have a different conversation, because
I could tell you where you could go, but
right.
But I have, since the uprisings, I've been in black restaurants, and I will see at least one or two, like even big upset one white table. I do see maybe some of them trying and having a more concerted effort. Maybe they're asking themselves that real question: why don't we spend our money and support their businesses the way they support ours?
You know what? I taking a page out of Ruthie's book. I really don't mind that they support their own stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like if that one table, if we could find a black family to put that table in and fill it in, the only thing that would piss me off if that community gets like parking or whatever. But my thing is this: I want to get out of the white savior mode, right? Like, I really want to be like, motherfucker, call your congressman and tell him to give us our reparations. Besides that, get the fuck out of my face, right? Like, go tell your family, go check your grandma, go get Carolyn Donham, go write a letter and tell them that Carolyn Donham, all them pictures, because you go check your own crib, right? Yeah. There's what's Meemaw? Because Meemaw was probably throwing rocks at Dr. King. So why don't you work on your house until you call and get us some reparations? Because again, I don't really feel like when someone asks that, that's sincere, right? Like, I feel like it is make me feel better. Make me feel better. And so I can leave and say, Mills absolved me of my racism, and I can go home and nah, ma. And to me, I want the white people to try to get in the nicest place and can't get a seat, right? And be like, damn, the man got a restaurant, and look at these people that came out here and did it. And the last step is, I really wish if he went and bought it built it in a white place, I really wish we could have seen Harlem or Los Angeles or all of the places that we had the same way that the developers see them, because they take the same neighborhoods that we live in and flip them. And so I really wish that we could have, like, we're underrepresented in the development space. And now that I know you in LA, I'm gonna touch base with you.
Yeah,
we're underrepresented in the development space. And so a lot of times, even those architects that we talk about that we went to school with or we know, we need them to come back and re-envision that the neighborhood that they live in and say, this is what it can be. Because again, every neighborhood that we left is now the neighborhood that they popped up. And now, again, I would say we don't have the capital, but then I would also say, well, actually, we probably could. If I bought all of my Nikes from not the Arab stores, and if I could shop, you would see these people are making hundreds of millions of dollars
off our
the corner,
Yes.
telling you, and imagine that money coming back and saying, okay, so now you don't want that corner store in your neighborhood. So imagine you made $1 million and then they tell you, man, you can remodel this store. And so now it's not, I'm driving it into the ground. All I want is the bulletproof vest. It can be shitty outside. You making it a better place because you only live a half mile away from it. The Arabs live in Palos, so they ain't got to worry about the shootout that happened right out in front of them. And that's how you build. And that's why I'm just saying, like,
and the Arabs are spending their money in Palos too. That profit, they're not, or they're spending in Saudi Arabia or wherever they're from. But that profit's not recirculating within our community.
And because they hustling, because they doing out the back door, then we ain't even getting the property taxes to go back into the community because they taking link, they trading cash. So they're taking all of them. The pain and suffering of Black people has been monetized by multiple generations, and they pass it on to another generation of people when they come in.
And they're trying to sexually assault our women in those stores. I see it all the time. I be like, man, stop that while I'm sitting here. I do. Don't you see me standing here, man? Like stop that. You know, cover your face up, sister.
It's wild.
Think about the gravity of this, though. The gravity of those same places, because they are in the most impoverished neighborhoods. You have young girls who are trying to subsist, and so they trade their bodies for it. That's why you see all these babies. Don't give me
started. No, I mean, you said it, Self. I'm gonna throw it to you, and then go ahead and wrap. Go ahead and make your comment, and then Self's got 2 questions. Then we're gonna take a short break, man.
Okay.
Yeah, the comment he pretty much hit right on the comment I was gonna make, so I ain't gotta even make it. But what can we as Black men do to protect our women from being murdered, kidnapped, and trafficked at an inordinate rate, and our children as well?
I think we have to value them, right? Like, I think, fellas, I'll be honest with you, and I like sometimes I feel like I come from a cornball kind of perspective when it comes to women, but I'm not the newfangled, I believe let me say this. I believe that women are equally, et cetera, all that good stuff. But I think that we have to value and treasure our women and to put them back in the place that they belong in our families. Women have had in the Black community, we talk about protecting them from external threats. I think we also have to re-examine our relationships internally. Now that's both ways, but I think we've got to get back to some sense of normalcy in the familial relationship. We have gotten away from the concept of the nuclear family, not that and there are new realities that we must face, but within that realm, I do think that our young men, a woman cannot raise a man to be a protector, and you see it happening. And so I think we've got to really start to recognize the holistic value of us being connected as families, and getting back to trying as much as we can. Like we say, we don't need families, and I would tell you to show me any society in the world where a man having men in the weakened position is beneficial to the culture. And we are the only people that are convincing ourselves of that. And so I think that how do we protect our women? I think we've got to reclaim our place as men in our households and in our community. Because right now, with the exception of a few, they're not. Another thing I think we got to do, fellas, is we can't laugh in the room when we know it's it be the moments when you know it's some bullshit in the room and you be like, ha, 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 and you don't say nothing, right? We can't condone the bullshit either. So I would say this: we have to protect our women, but that starts at home. I think the respect comes from the top down. Unfortunately, right now, I don't know that we sit in the top spot in our homes and in our communities in so many cases. And so I think that's a much bigger thing, but I think it is being responsible in the home and trying to do as best as you can to provide for your entire family.
And then, people say,
if you take care of your family, because if you take care of like if you're a protector of your own, right, you got yours in purview, then it's not as inordinate. Then we all can collectively, but if yours is, then we got some challenges.
Amen, bro.
We got to collect them all, because we got to guide our communities, and we got to change the hood back to community. That's largely what the self-love show is about. I want to ask you, what's your take on Black Lives Matter?
Before I get out of here, what time is it again? Look, Black Lives Matter. I think I've been pretty clear on this. Let me just say this. I think that they were very clever to pick 3 words that no Black person could deny at a time when Black people needed some galvanizing force. So, do I believe in that Black Lives Matter? The 3 words? Yes. Black Lives Matter as an amorphous organization is not something that I support or subscribe to. I think that it is, when I go to the website and see what it actually says that it stands for, it is almost the antithesis of what I just got through saying. Yes. So I believe in the 3 words, Black Lives Matter. As far as an organization, I would not say that I believe in the organization, and I am a little disheartened at how, once again, our pain and suffering has been leveraged by others against us.
We hear that quite frequently. I'm gonna send you a video of a brother that's involved in Black Lives Matter. It kind of, you might know him. He's from Champaign. He went to FIST. He's a noob though. Kind of changed my opinion a little bit, but everything you just said, I know where you're coming from without saying so many words, and I won't even say it. Their principles, it's hard to say it,
hey, bro,
without being offensive.
My man. I saw, unless they took the website down, you ain't changing my man.
Right. I got you. All right. I got you. Hey, Mason, I know you got like 20 more minutes, but hopefully you can give us 30 more minutes. Hey, at least 30 more minutes. We're just gonna do a quick break, and then I got well, we'll figure it out. But let's just do a quick break, man, so we can stretch our legs, drink some water. We'll be back in 6 minutes, bro.
All right.
I'm gonna stop you, Cam. Take a nap if you got to, Mason.
Nah, I ain't taking a nap, but come on, man. All right.
All right. So,
yes, sir.
All All right, so you know what it is. It's halftime. We're gonna skip a lot of those questions that we
No
had.
doubt.
So,
no doubt.
All
That
right.
would be expeditious. Let's go. We're gonna run this right on through.
Yeah, make this quick.
Yep. Yo, it's halftime. Y'all know how it is. Self-love show, social justice for us, the indigenous to this land, as far as I'm concerned. But we got a great show going. Maze Jackson. We're sending for the black people. Be right back at you. Got a great video, if I do say so myself.
Support the Maze Jackson show. It's halftime. So I will turn it over to this brother to my right, Brother Wordsmith, for Wordsmith's final words. Out there.
Brother Kevin Samuels. Didn't know him personally. But universally, we're connected. Because I learned personally a lot from him, and I respect it. I know he was hated by many. But that's just the nature of my noble clan. We are hated all across this land by men and women.
Love to hate.
And he was successful. No matter the hate. He wore it like a cape and watch it drape. There was no escaping his truth. Why do people celebrate people's death? And not in a good way, like reverence and respect, but to talk trash and distress. Like he didn't have a mother and a daughter. Black women. Like he led people to slaughter. There's no Hitler. In my approximation, he was really trying to help us build a B1 nation. And spoke a lot about high value, but really knew most people are not that. At least as it was defined. Most people are average. But why is calling someone average an insult? When you look at it, and it's the correct call for the result. I don't get it, and many won't. R.I.P. Nope. Words.
Yeah.
Hey bros, what's going on? This is Kanana. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel.
Do you still have them?
I got mine.
Hey, I don't know how that came up. It's not on my playlist production. Great job. We had the Bernard Creamer video.
Oh, wow. I don't know how that came up either. But it's on me, that's for sure.
It's all good. At least it's that was beautiful. Make it quick. We on the time frame.
Y'all know how we do. Self-love show. Social justice for descendants of slavery with Mays Jackson. And we right back at you. First half, we broke down early life. And now we're going to expand the conversation. We're going to get into it. The whole social justice. Justice.
Yes, sir. Just ice. Has to be together. Alright, so we got part 2 jumping off. Big ups Trife Mac from All Gale Gardens. Appreciate you for this joint right here. Maze, I'm just going to throw a couple more questions at you because I know we're on a time crunch here. Let's see here. Anywhere I go. Because I want to get to these esoteric questions we ask everybody. I'm interested in hearing your responses. How do you feel, but before we get there, how do you feel about protest voting as a tool for black folks to receive tangible results from elected officials, whether it's abstention, whether it's voting for another party? How do you feel about I know these Republicans make it hard, but how do you feel about that? Speak on that.
So I'm going back and forth over this. You know, my wife and I were discussing this earlier this evening, because this morning we talked about the concept of what are we really voting for this election, and her concern was that if we discourage, she agreed, but if we discourage people from voting, will we keep them from will they not come back? You know, they say if you do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, it is the definition of insanity.
That's true.
Fact.
But then you look across the line and you talk to people and you be like, there's insanity over there too. And it just becomes the choice. It is. But it becomes, in politics, the choices aren't right and wrong. A lot of times they're wrong and wronger. And you have to decide if you're going to participate. Let me say that I was on that path, or let me say I got put on a path similar to that during the Bruce Rauner era here in Illinois. And I was completely frustrated with the Democratic Party. And there was a Republican that was pretty high ranking, like, man, you should come to our meetings. Man, we'll make you a star. You are the exact kind of guy we love to da 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 da. And then I went to the meeting.
No doubt.
Right? And I'm like, you know how you'd be like, I'm sitting here. Like, who y'all talking about? Do y'all know I'm sitting right here? And you realize the days and the thems are the yous and the me's when they're using them. And you find yourself saying, can I, you know, when you was talking about shucking and jiving earlier, to sit there and not respond is essentially shucking and jiving. And I don't, like, I'm trying to figure it out, brother. Like, honestly, I'm trying to figure it out, because it seems like just like the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris we gotta vote for him because Trump and whatever.
If
But how
you
many
ain't black,
presidents-
if you don't vote for me, after I locked all y'all up in the 90s, go ahead.
But then we
Dog,
supposed
through
to forget that.
every crime bill we ever had, I didn't wrote it. And this one,
Hey, Maze,
jaywalk.
to be clear,
Life.
I don't think anyone here is saying cast the vote for the Republicans, but that would be a heck of a protest. There is independent. Go ahead.
We
Bro.
gotta do something. It's like they be like everybody else, the Latino. How the Latinos voting for Trump and he's saying send them back, and they voting for him.
Correct.
Right? And now the Democrats are kissing their ass because they're not loyal. Like
Correct.
We do not get any reciprocity for our loyalty, or the reciprocity that we get only comes in being elected and never trickles back to the people.
Correct.
Right? Like for me, James Clyburn, if he is the person that got Joe Biden elected because you saved him in South Carolina, there is no Joe Biden if there is no James Clyburn. Help me understand. We can't get police reform.
Correct.
We can send how much money to Ukraine? So
stay the course or protest vote. What does Maze Jackson say right here on live TV?
Maze Jackson says live on TV. Vote, but vote selectively, and skip the ones that you don't. So this is what I would say, because here's what I would tell you, and this is me as a political guy who counts votes. What I would do is I would go into the polling place and I would selectively vote, right? So for instance, if JB Pritzker is at the top of the ticket and we go to the polling place and nobody black votes for him, but we still vote, and he still wins probably, right? But he sees the drop off between top and this one. So even if you don't vote for the crazy Republican, you just don't cast the vote. And so they say, wait a minute, 2 million ballots got cast. How come I only got 50,000? And then they're going to start to look at the numbers and say, where did they go? Right. So I think the challenge in politics is the nuance, because most people aren't as in-depthly involved. So if it's us three talking, I'm going to say, let's take a nuanced approach, right? Let's go in and let's educate our people, and they're going to vote and they're going to pick which one. But what our people are going to do is walk in there and vote straight deep.
And vote like their mamas and daddies and granddaddies and grandmamas did.
They vote. And so that is
insanity.
And understanding that the moment that you tell somebody black who's uninformed to vote for a Republican, they're gonna be looking at you crazy.
Like you're a sellout.
But it's changing, but it's moving very, very, very slowly. And the people who are changing are the young people, but they don't vote. They tapping out the process. Okay, I'm through.
No, I got the gist of it. I want to get through a couple more. Maze, what's your opinion? I've done some research, but what's your opinion of Mayor Lori Hoover? Larry Light Blunt, the Chicago mayor, the Honorable.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot and I do not. Let me back up. Mayor Lori Lightfoot had me censored at WVON.
I saw that.
And the biggest challenge I have is that the mayor empowered Latino street gangs during the uprisings to attack Black people, of which Black people died. And when I brought it up, I was banned from the other station.
She empowered the BDs too, but go on. Go on.
So,
definitely.
So, from my standpoint, Mayor Lightfoot has not operated as a Black mayor and is now pivoting back because she's lost the support of the white community. I think that the mayor, if you've heard of the story, The Emperor with No Clothes, the mayor is the emperor with no clothes. She talks a lot of stuff, but like if the way she responded to Anjanette Young, between that and the uprisings, it's just very hard for me to see her as someone that has the best interests of Black people. at hand. I'm not going to castigate her, but if you listen to the morning show song, it's pretty clear.
Fair enough. I just had to throw that in there. Are you related to Maze Jackson? I think he's from Atlanta or Nashville. He was a minister. Yeah.
White preacher, do you see? Hey, bro.
Oh, he's white. I didn't see images. No, I didn't see images.
Yeah, he's white. But you see how dark I am? They did not knock on my granny's door.
No, I didn't see images. And then when you said your dad, you're the son of a preacher, I'm like, wait a minute, he's probably related.
Then you go see that dude, you will be like, oh no.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look up the images. All right. Next time, note to self: go to Google Images.
Always go to the images.
What's your take on defunding 12, if you can, real quick?
I think that is a crazy concept. I would like to. I was just listening to a podcast today. Ironically, my cousin specializes in policing and emotional intelligence. I think crime is rampant around the country. I think we have to revise our policing strategies, and we have to add mental health, and we have to add resources. And I think we have to revamp the way we do policing. And I think it starts with some innovative techniques that some of the most entrenched police departments refuse to employ. But I think if we can increase cultural competence, emotional intelligence, emotional situational awareness, with a variety of other implementations, I think we should invest in the police, actually, in making it a better police department. Because if you ask people in my neighborhood, do they want to defund the police? No, they just don't want to get killed when they call for a service.
All right. That's controversial. Great answer. We don't debate. All right. You kind of touched on it at the top of the show, and then I'm gonna get to the fun part, and that literally only takes, I promise you, 10 minutes. So
we don't go over the time we said.
No, it won't. I promise you. At UC, University of Illinois, circa the 90s, many black factions that were renamed, go unnamed, had beef. Now, you and I and Self-Love personally, we didn't have that, but thank God we didn't find you one night. We'll talk about that.
I owe you one. I think I owe you one from when I was pledging, but we'll talk about that in just
that wasn't me. That was the homeboy. That was my homeboy.
But you wasn't confident. I think I owe you one.
He was as black as you.
It was a red Phillies hat. I think I owe you one, but
he's as black as you. That wasn't me. That was my brother from another mother. It's funny though, because his son is a Sigma. I don't know what chapter. And he called me just the other day talking about that. You know what I'm saying? And then you brought it up. I wasn't even going to mention it. All right, but here we go. But why do you feel the black community was so disjointed, or many of us within the black community? And then moreover, what factors do you think led to that? And then what can be done? Because you kind of led off the show with that, and I appreciate you doing that. What do you think could be done to keep our, kids and everything? Because when I go down there now, I don't know how much you visit, they don't really move like that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
They in their phones, bro. They barely even go to the party. They
don't even look at girls. They don't even look at girls. Toxic masculinity. You can't talk to that girl. Right. All right. But what do you think caused that? And I don't mean specifics. Just right. And then what can stop that?
Well, I think it's already kind of stopped, because I don't think that if you saw that was it the TikTok when they was like, the mom was like, hey man, somebody outside want to fight. The kid's like, wait a minute, I'm not like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think that that's the way. Like, I was asking my son the other day about a fight, and he was looking at me like, fight, huh? Like either they gonna shoot or whatever. But let me back up to that time in my life. I could very clearly speak to it. Looking back, here is the first time that I am really coming to awareness of self. I'll be honest, I had joined I was a member of another organization prior to coming to college. But because we all grew up together, it was often that there wasn't really, you really didn't have to test that. I think when we all got, so first of all, for us to be going to U of I at the University of Illinois, the number one school, and when you look at outcomes, it's clear. And I'll be thinking like, dang, I fought the president of such and such company.
Yeah.
XYZ, ABC.
Yeah. Or I used to, go ahead.
I think.
Agreed.
But I think it's that you're finding your manhood, right? You're in a testosterone filled environment. We were in a fishbowl, right?
Yeah.
So it's like with 1,000 people, 1,000 people in 39,000, and we are all fighting, competing to get the attention of the same girls and the same people. I think it's that mix. And then it's like people trying to re-image themselves, self-included, right? Like, man, my last 2 years of high school, I was trying to erase everything that I had when I came to U of I. It's like you could start over, and man,
that
like,
makes sense.
This dude, this. Oh, I know I got this dude.
Right.
And then you try to figure out your way. And then there's two types of dudes, right? There's my issue usually came from somebody from the city being like, oh, this nigga from Bolingbrook. So they would, and then I would feel like, okay, well, you're not going to be walking around here, etc. And I think as we got older, right, I think we saw it go in waves. Like you think about like the football team, right? And when we first were there, and we like everybody was fighting each other. We was fighting the townies, football, the Kappas, the Qs, everybody was brawling, but realizing that there was something in all of us that was a commonality that we didn't know how to necessarily bring together. So you think about how many fights that happened between the Qs and the Kappas and the football players. And then as soon as Mo broke the joint and came through, then the Mo was broke, and then Kappas and Qs start seeing, and so all these people that we was beefing with really was looking at you like they wanted to be you. And so I just think that it's just like I told you, I was coming into my own as a Black person, and like just finding out, we're all trying to find out about ourselves. And what you're gonna find out is there's bulls and there's cows. And I think we fit in the bull arena, right? And when you put the bulls in the arena, right, it don't even gotta be animosity like personal. Right. It's just like bulls in the arena gonna be bulls. We gonna be doing some elbowing and we figure it out, right? And then you find your space.
Do you remember the first time that you were in our presence? The very first time.
No, I feel like probably. Let me
tell himself. Tell him, because for time's sake, just tell him.
I was going right into it. Your god brother Jesse Jackson. You came to see us. Yes.
The regulator.
The fun house. The fun house. Our regulator. The fun house. When you first got there, so just know that.
Yeah. So that's why Self and I, we never, mess with you like that. You know what I mean? On the strength of.
And it was respect. It was always respect in our presence too. So it was like.
Correct.
Man, they doing all this and that. I'm like, well,
and let me tell you something. Some stuff that was happening. We got a frat brother that sat on our show, and I think you and him used to get into it, whatever. His reality when he got to the university, like listening to Maison talk, is exactly with one of your ships. His experience when he got down there, and so I'm serious, like. Yeah, trying to find himself and find his place within the community. Yeah, the exact same thing, bro. This is a great study. Like this is literally great. And I used to be trying to tell him, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, cool all that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you'd have done that to me, I would have socked you too. You know, that kind of stuff. So You know, but
I think though, when you think about that, right?
yeah,
Again, it's like, and depending on where you come from, and this is your first introduction to like blackness at this level, like where it's under that, like, man, again, it's gonna be bulls, it's gonna be cows. And
bro,
so,
my first day on the yard, I was at Impy, and a 23-year-old Q stole on me because I was killing them on the court. So I'm 17. That was my first day on the yard, and that told me something like, wait a minute, this can't be going on. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. But, bro, I just want to shoot through these esoteric questions. They go quick. The self-love time machine. So imagine if self-love had a time machine, and it's your 9th birthday, bro. It's your 9th birthday. Your family, your mom, your dad, everybody's sitting around the table, and they're telling you to make a wish and blow out the candle. Your wish is to meet Maze today. Your wish is to meet Maze today. You blow the candle, time is suspended, boom. You right now is right there. Your family can't see you. Of course, the kid can. What do you say to yourself, your 9-year-old self?
stay on your path, boy. You did good. You made your mama proud. And don't trust them white people.
All right. Recommend one book to the Self-Love Nation.
48 Laws of Power.
Great one. Recommend a black-owned restaurant anywhere on the planet.
Black-owned restaurant anywhere on the planet. I would say 1111.
1111. Okay. Self,
Yep.
you been there? Self's been everywhere. All right. These are the quick hits. Yes or
I've
no
been there
answer.
to deliver, but I ain't.
You ain't ate. Sat down. All right. We got to check that out, Self, next time I'm in the city.
That's
All right.
Nas Muhammad's joint.
Okay. All right. These are yes or no answers, please. Is there a God?
Yes.
Have you personally ever seen anything you'd consider supernatural?
Yes.
Have you ever seen an unidentified aerial phenomenon? We called it a UFO.
No.
Have you ever seen an alien?
From what country?
Besides Mayor Larry Light Blunt.
That was not. You're not referring to undocumented immigrants, right? So I haven't seen an alien. Then.
Right. We're not referring to our Latinx community or from any other country. All right.
From this planet.
Yes. Did human walk on the moon during the Apollo program or at any other time in human history? Yes or no?
Damn.
Remember, your kids could be watching this. Hey.
No, they did not.
All right.
They lost the tape. How they gonna lose the tape of the moonwalk?
And forgot the science.
No, they didn't walk
and forgot the science. We got to figure out they lost the way they got there, according to them. I'm like, come on, man. I'm from the street, but I ain't street.
Hold
right.
on. You can't get back, and you had less technology than this right here in my hand.
They said they
lost
lost
technology than this.
They said they lost the science. I guess
and they lost the videotapes.
Yeah,
they lost everything.
And they lost the video, everything. All right. So here we go. Magic box question. Imagine if Tori had a magic box with a singular button on it. So it's a beautiful oak, acacia wood box, and it's got a big red button on the top of it. Now, God forbid that a person who you would have the most difficulty living without, imagine that person or persons, imagine, God forbid, knock on wood, they contracted a rare, terminal, and extremely painful illness that they were suffering dearly from, and death was imminent. Tori over there told you, Maze Jackson, all you got to do is press that button, and this person will be 100% out of pain and forever cured. But, there's a genie in this bottle, Maze. But when you press the button, someone who you do not know, will never know, would then suffer the same exact fate as your loved one. Do you, Maze Jackson, push the button?
Is this a real question?
It's a real question. I'm sure self-love likes that.
I'll never know.
You'll never know. You'll never meet him. You like that, Self? All
Hey,
right.
well, it wasn't that extravagant when we started, but it's yes, I still would.
All right.
Never
all right.
know. I'll never know.
You'll never know. Nope. All right.
But
All right. All right. Maze Jackson. This is our last question, and then we got a 1 minute game. It only takes 1 minute. This is our last question, though. What is the meaning of life?
God, family, self. Have a relationship with the Creator, a spiritual relationship, however you define that, something that you can turn to that is bigger than you, that will always provide you with inspiration or hope. Family, because it is your legacy. Your family, those are the people that will be with you and will carry your legacy on. And yourself, be happy. I have been blessed in my life, even though I have taken the long way around, to never have to do a job, never have to work at a place to live that I did not enjoy. That I wake up every day, whether I'm getting paid for it or not, knowing that I am doing what I am supposed to be doing and in my purpose. And when you live that way, the universe responds. I have done a lot, try to go outside of all of those other things, but when you come back to those three things and keep them together, everything else falls in line.
That's a deep answer, bro. Deep answer. And my apologies to the chat. We got lost in this great discussion. Mr. Gordine said he's always tapped in. He said he pushed for FBA to come out of the POC minority bucket and be a protected class. He said there is no Calvary. He said we are over-indexed in social services. E. George Perry, the Q dog from U of I, you know Ernest. He said regulated. He said,
what's up, EP?
Yeah, EP. Yeah. He said he once had a convo with the corner store owner. He's talking about the A-Ramp. Yeah. He said that the owner said he put 3 children through college from that little ass store. E. George Perry said, unfortunately, banks don't loan to us to allow blacks to open stores in their own communities. Right. They let other groups set up shops in our communities. Well said.
Can I just point out this real quick on that? Just for the record, though. So they don't go to banks to open up their stores. They go to each other to open up the store. Yeah. So when you come over, they basically have, if you go, they have a warehouse, and essentially you get the location, you come to their council, they bless your store in, they say, go to the store, pick up the stuff, you got 30 days to pay us, and it goes like that, and you build up. So they already recognized there was no Calvary, and so they built their own network.
And
they grow like together to initially start off. It'll be 6 families together in the whole location that they got. So they come and it's all set up where they got a place to stay and all of that.
Right? And they grow like Vegas. You know, like the Vegas casinos. They start out with modesty, and then with the more profits they make, they move on. Omni Overseer said, rest in peace to Brother Samuels. But come on, man, 1 minute game, and then you out of here. This takes 1 minute. Everybody who sits with us plays this game. This is called the Self-Love Arc. Self-Love Arc. So basically, I'm going to give you a pair of items. Keep one, toss one. Just say the one that you're going to keep. It's an ink blotch test. You got 60 seconds to get through 12 responses. You can get... Huh?
You gonna tell if I'm crazy or not at the end?
Yeah, but you can get 2 passes and still win the game. If you pass more than twice, you lose. The idea is not to pass at all. Here we go. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James.
Kobe.
B.I.G., Tupac.
Big.
College dropout, Illmatic.
Damn, college dropout. I'm from Chicago. Yeah.
Harold's Chicken, Uncle Remus.
Now West, Uncle Remus.
Tyranny or anarchy?
Tyranny.
The carjacking Pookie or the oath-breaking 12?
The oath breaking 12. Get rid of, toss out. I got this bad. Stop.
Carjacking Pookie,
Stop,
oath-breaking 12.
Stop the test. Because I did this wrong. I'm throwing out what I don't want.
You're saying what you want to keep.
Oh,
Okay, we'll start over. You're gonna say the one you like the most. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Say the one you like the most. All right, here we go. The late Kobe Bryant, LeBron James.
Kobe.
B.I.G. or Tupac?
B.I.G.
College Dropout or Illmatic?
College Dropout.
Harold's Chicken, Uncle Remus.
Uncle Remus. Oh, I did it right. Go ahead.
Tyranny, anarchy.
Oh, keep. Tyranny.
Carjacking Pookie, drinking lean, hat cocked off, or the oath-breaking 12 with his knee on your neck?
Carjacker.
Would you rather live forever or die tomorrow?
Shit, live forever.
Prayer, meditation.
Prayer.
Muhammad Ali, Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Shit.
Remember, you can pass.
Michael Jordan. I take.
All right.
No, Muhammad Ali.
Martin Luther King, Malcolm X.
Malcolm.
The last question. The boss's son, which is Mayor Daley's son, or Larry Lightfoot?
Mayor Daley's son.
Wow.
I'm a psychopath.
Wow. All right. At least you know what you're looking at.
No.
Oh, it's my phone. No, I'm a psychopath.
All right, no. I mean, all right, bro. So I know you got to bounce, man. But is there anything?
I'm on my score, damn it.
you got all of them. You answered all of them, so that's 12 out of 12. There is no right or wrong. You know, as long as you answer them, you get a point for each one you answer and didn't pass on. So
okay.
You got the highest score possible. All right, now, anything that we didn't touch on that you want to touch on before you bounce out?
Nah, man, because it's way later. But I will. I'm gonna say this, right? We just did 2 hours, right? I do 3 in the morning. I had a good time. So I mean, feel free to call me again if y'all ever want to do this again, because I did enjoy the conversation, and I will reciprocate. It'll probably be a little early for you, Mills, but if y'all, we're gonna have y'all come on the morning show too. But no, I had a blast. I just had a good time. So it was fun to be down here and kicking it. Man,
we could work something out because I'm off on Thursdays and Fridays. So, and I'm up every day at 4 a.m., which is 6 a.m. your time. I get up with the sun, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to not like a flower child, are you?
No, but I just figure, man, you know what it does? We know what it's done in my life. If somebody says, yeah, the meeting's at 6 a.m., it doesn't change the way I'm living. You know, I'm not there all slumped over. Right.
Where I live my life, it don't matter what time it is, because times are, a construct, so we know.
So you just roll out of bed whatever time? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Hey,
I've done it for a long time. Like, it's like, hey, we need to be here, blah, blah, blah. And, it's going to be what it is, 18-hour day or whatever. I'm like, I'm going to be on point and make sure what it is.
I mean, the latest I get up is 5. Like if I'm up, that's the latest, but every day. So, hey, but Mazon, bro, we appreciate you doing this, man. And you got our information as well. So, whenever you want to make that happen, that's cool too. We definitely don't kick nobody out. Welcome to the Give Back Gang, bro. We appreciate you, stepping to the plate and going through this process with us.
Hey, man, it was fun. And I want to also compliment y'all on y'all professionalism, right? A lot of times y'all kind of way more tight than me when it comes to sending out the letters and the follow-ups and all that. So, man, I appreciate it. And again, it was great doing this. And man, we got to keep on having conversations like this. because I think it's important. And it is not lost on me, the full circle, right? It's just not lost.
Absolutely.
So that's some dope shit. All right. So I'll
Yes,
talk to
sir.
y'all brothers later. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm honored to all of your guests, your followers, to everybody. Thank you for having me on the Self Love Show. And man, I hope to be back, but definitely we will have you on the Mace Jackson Show. Y'all brothers and sisters, stay up. Peace.
Yes, sir. 1 million, brother.
All right.
Sir.
All right, Self, great job. That was magnanimous, man. Magnanimous. I just wish we had more time. I started to break it up because he said he'll do it again, because there's a whole section of questions we didn't get to. You know what I mean?
Well, he's going to come back
okay.
for that. So you got to remember,
Yeah, well, I got them. They're digital,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. I mean, I know you got it. I'm just saying you're going to just line them all up.
Yeah.
Because the ones you didn't get.
Yeah.
Man, time is a thing, and he expands with the words. You know what I mean? And
yeah, it was magnanimous, bro.
Yes.
Magnanimous, and big ups to everybody in the chat too. And as we said, my man, brother Paulin, he solved the riddle.
Yes, he did.
And so let's see, where were we? What to expect? Quote of the day. Riddle: 2 mothers and 2 daughters go to a dinner, and everyone ate 1 portion each. A total of 3 portions are eaten. How is that possible? Self-love?
Well, it's a grandmother, a mother, and her daughter. It's 3 generations.
I don't think I would have got that. You ain't, but Poland's good, man. He's good at these riddles, bro.
Yeah, he is. He's,
3 Club.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Saw them. You know what I mean? So, he's,
Yeah, he's good at these riddles, bro.
If you just focus in, like, the whole thing is every week it's a
wordplay you're trying to figure out. It's like a puzzle.
I mean, it is. I mean, you said, I mean, it is what it is. I'm glad others can lock in. That's all.
Yeah, you're not embarrassing everybody week after week as much anymore. So, but you're getting them all too, man. So great job. And you guys, our call to action would be, as always, know your rights, learn your rights, assert your rights.
Gotta do that.
Man, stand up for yourself. Be a role model for your young ones by standing up for yourself. Stand up for your family. And we did our riddle. We're working on next week's. Next week we won't have a guest, but we'll get a promo video and let you guys know what we got in store for next week. But we do have some guests we're working on as well to reel them in, huh? Self-love.
We might have a guest next week because your attitude has been outstanding, and the approach that you've taken is going to take us to the next level.
I appreciate that. Pretty good, brother. From your words to God's ears. All right, and then tomorrow on Mouthpiece Included, anybody's welcome to pull up. It's an open panel, so
You pull up, you better.
Don't forget to bring your mouthpiece.
Your shit might get knocked around.
Yeah, we debate on that show. It's a shorter show. It's designed to be a shorter show. Tomorrow we're covering the NFL quarterback salaries. Is the modern day quarterback overvalued and or overpaid? And we got some other hot topics we're going to be going over as well. So
great show. So man, if y'all appreciate this content, y'all gotta check it.
Yeah, that's politics, sports mixed with politics, and right here on TATN. And make sure you guys subscribe to the Maze Jackson Show. The link is in the chat. And so enough of my blabbering. I'm going to turn it over to this brother to my right for Wordsmiths Final words out there, out there, out there, out there, out there.
Man, I don't know, but it's a fact. When it comes to politics, I'm similar to Maze Jackson. I don't need to know what is in it for the black people, cause as far as I'm concerned, there ain't no equal. And black is a soliloquy, cause I'm not black, I'm brown as we can be. And most of my people be in the range of copper. The people that they said when they came here, rich and near, people of this land, indigenous. But we gotta operate in the system that we created, and we allowed it to be broken into. These people perpetrated the fraud.
Made a white God.
Yeah. And God is a white word. Hermetic, absurd. We, the I am that I am. We not just descendants of Ham.
Stop eating swine.
Man, Old Testament is relevant. And I don't need, and I need for you to know, time to look within to grow. It's time to explode. Because everything we've been told has been a lie. And I need for you to investigate why. Words.
Word life. Yes, sir. Word life. All right, Self, let's close it out. Let's see here.
Do you think you are the one? Honestly, I don't know. You know what that means? It's Latin.
I know what it means.
Know thyself.
Know thyself. Love thyself.
That's all we got is ourselves.
Bullet to boomerang.
Stand your ground.
Murder is suicide.
Yeah, an eye for an eye.
Silence is violence.
You see something? Say something.
12. Woo-hoo. 12, 12. Slave theory. Greed plus ego over fear. You made a slave.
And freedom. Charity plus humility times love.
Do not Answer questions.
Question everything.
Fear? Fear is cap.
It's only love.
Vibrate love. Forgiveness. Plus charity. Those are the highest vibrations of that love.
Gotta feel love from the divine. Know that I didn't I messed up in the script.
So do something charitable for your ops. Hey, they say hurt people hurt people.
Yeah. They say healthy people can heal people.
Free Larry Hoover, man. Free all the guys, man.
Prison is slavery.
Hey, for you cats out there, be like St. Pedro. Have your tunnel vision on your Yahushua. And you too will be walking on H2O.
You can definitely do things that you can't believe. You know what it is that you want to achieve. Keep you focused on it. You can move mountains.
Man, you can move mountains. Walk on water. Wait, you talking about that mountain self?
Oh man, all day, every day.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret.
Today we can have it move out the way.
Being the one is just like being in love.
Self-love.
No one can tell you you're in love. You just know it. Through and through. Balls to bones.